There is a wonderful event coming up on Saturday, September 23rd. It's the return of the Working Waterfront Festival to New Bedford's waterfront. The event, sponsored by the New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center and others, it celebrates the number one fishing port in North America, that is New Bedford, for those of you who don't know. Festival Director Jessica Bailey back with us to talk about this year's edition of the festival. Hi, Jessica. Good to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Last year, the festival did not happen.
Correct.
Because, frankly, there was a lot of effort made to get the New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center off the ground and up and running, I guess is the best way to put it. That has happened, and the festival is back now. Only a one-day event this year. Why is that?
Well, we wanted to continue with the festival, but we also wanted to make sure it was sustainable for the future and to make sure that all the elements everyone loves are there. But we also realized that it's a very daunting task for the next generation who's going to come up and do this festival. So we wanted to make sure it was something that was manageable and could be seen, ushered into the future, if you will.
2 locations for this year's festival, is that right?
Correct. We'll be on Steamship Pier and at the New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center. Main stage, author readings, some performances and such will be at the Heritage Center. And down on Steamship Pier will be our Foodways demonstration tent, food, kids' activities, the contest stage, exhibitors, on-the-water events. Basically, we've condensed everything into those locations, and there'll be a free shuttle that runs between the center and Steamship Pier, so everyone can enjoy both areas without having to get in their car and go back and forth.
What are some of the highlights? Give me 3 or 4.
3 or 4
I know
highlights.
There's probably more, but give me 3.
There are a lot. I would say some of our big highlights, of course, are our fishermen's contests, like our scallop shucking contest, link squeezing. We are very fortunate that Captain Linda Greenlaw will be joining us. She'll be gracing our main stage at 2 o'clock. She's been here in New Bedford many times for us, and with her new book coming out, we thought it'd be a great time for her to come back and see us. And then we have our cooking demonstration. So we've always tried to have a variety of cooks, both home cooks and galley cooks who come and they talk about their family recipes or recipes they do on the vessels and provide our audience with an opportunity to see how easy it is to cook seafood. About 75% of the seafood in our country is consumed in restaurants, so we want to make sure people, A, cook seafood at home, and B, use our domestically caught seafood.
I will say this right now, that my wife was always timid about cooking seafood. And I said, well, let's start simple. Get some cod fillets, use a little breadcrumbs or cornflake crumbs, put it in the oven, voila. She's perfect now with that.
Exactly.
So it's not that hard, folks. It really isn't that hard to take advantage of the healthy aspects of seafood.
Absolutely. And our cooks they're not all professional chefs. Like I said, they are galley cooks. They're our family cooks, and they show how easy it is to make some of these recipes and to use not only easily found ingredients, but also some underutilized species as well.
What makes this festival so special? And when I ask that, there's a lot of great things to do and see, but there's also, I think, you are celebrating a way of life.
Yes, we are.
That I'm sure New Bedford doesn't want to see diminished anytime soon. Correct.
I think what is special about this festival is our founding director, Laura Alines, really saw the need for the commercial fishing industry to tell their story, and in extension, the working waterfront, those that work on the docks and do other things that support our harbor and our waterfront. And it's their voices that we want the public to hear and to learn from. And because it's fun, it's educational, it's a lot of hands-on activities, and it's coming from those who are in the industry. I mean, our occupational demos are people who work creating scallop dredges and wire splicing on the docks. The men who are in the contest, and some women, because we do have a lot of women fishermen as well, coming from other ports. They're real and it's authentic, and it gives our people an opportunity to get to know their fishermen the same way they get to know their farmer. I think that's what makes it special. It's their voice that we give them a platform to talk to the public from.
If you remember the 2-day festival, and you should because it wasn't too long ago,
right.
There really isn't a great deal of change with the 1-day event. Some of the same events you had with the 2-day, you're having with the 1-day.
Exactly. We condensed everything. We did make a couple quick changes just to make sure the schedule accommodated everything. But for the most part, every single element is there that we could fit into the schedule. And we kick off at 8 o'clock with the whaleboat races that people can come down and watch the Buzzards Bay Rowing Club from 8 to noon. And most of the stages open up at 11 o'clock, between 11 and 11:30, depending on the schedule. And then we go right through to 6 o'clock. There's something to do for that entire 7 hours, and people can come and spend the day.
What about boat tours? We're still able to climb aboard a fishing boat this time?
Yes. Every year it's our answers from a lot of our fishermen are, well, if I'm not out fishing, is I'll help you or I'll be there, which is, of course, they are not on a regular schedule like us who work 9 to 5. But we are in the process of confirming a scalloper and a dragger and a clammer and making sure we have space on Steamship Pier so people can board, if not one or two. But if we aren't able to do that, the festival and the Fishing Heritage Center website has a fantastic online tour of a scallop vessel that people can go through. And if they can't get down to the festival or they can't board a scalloper, they can see what it looks like inside it. The tour is done by Captain Chris Wright, who's a scalloper. So we try to give people an opportunity, even if they can't physically do it for whatever reason, they can still see it.
The tour of the fishing boats, boy, it's great to hear if somebody's saying, well, I can't do it, I'm going to be out fishing. There has not been a lot of that to some degree, especially for ground fishermen.
Correct.
Over the past few years. But scallopers are still going out there and making money, and that's the reason, really, why this port is number one in terms of dollar value.
Exactly. Scalloping is about 75% of the value of our port, and then other fisheries such as red crab, lobster, ground fish. There's a variety of other fisheries, species that are being landed here. But for the most part, scalloping, because of its success and its sustainability, is most of our value at this point.
How important, well, first of all, I should say, you're listening to Townsquare Sunday. My name is Jim Phillips. My guest is Jessica Bailey, the director of the Working Waterfront Festival, happening September 23rd in New Bedford at two locations, the Fishing Heritage Center, which is on Bethel Street.
38 Bethel Street, correct.
38 Bethel Street, and the Steamship Pier on New Bedford's waterfront. How important is music to this festival, Jessica?
I think music is very important because it's part of the fabric of the communities that are represented in our fisheries. This year we have Noir, which is a Norwegian and Irish influenced band. We have two different versions of sea shanties. The New Bedford Harbor Sea Shanty Chorus will be gracing our stages, as well as Sharks Come Cruising. The chorus is a little more traditional, while the Sharks Come Cruising is, they've been compared to the Dropkick Murphys. They are a little bit of shanty with a lot of rock. But Anna Vinagre will be also on our stage singing traditional fado. But from these different communities that make up the fabric of our industry, music is such an important part of their lives and their culture that we like to showcase it, to introduce it to people who may not have known anything about fado or sea shanties and the importance of those in the cultures.
If you're new to the region, you really want to attend this festival and see what commercial fishing is all about. Again, folks hear about this industry. It happens really down on the waterfront. It doesn't happen in the downtown necessarily.
Right.
But clearly, if you've never seen a scallop shucking contest, you should take that in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that starts at noon on Saturday on our contest stage, which is on Steamship Pier. We kick off with the link squeezing contest. The links are what makes up part of the scallop dredge. And it's a very labor-intensive process, and we have teams that compete for that. And then from there, we go into the scallop shucking contest. It is quite extraordinary to watch scallops being shucked, how fast these fishermen can shuck the scallops, and they have to be fast and efficient, because any meat left on the shell is money left behind, and they have to be fast because they're bringing in thousands of pounds of scallops and not a lot of time to waste.
It is clearly, as we've mentioned, the number one crop here.
Yes.
In New Bedford, and the reason the port, frankly, is doing so well. There are storytellers and authors with plenty to say. You've mentioned Linda.
Yes.
Coming, and she is here. She got a new book coming out. That's fine.
Yes.
What else in terms of people talking about their experiences?
Well, we do a little bit of combination of both. We have authors and those that were poets before they became authors. We have Rachel Spalding, who wrote In Search of Ellen Marie. She was inspired by a painting that she saw at Arthur Muniz's gallery, and she'll be there to talk about her book. Paul Doucette, who is from a multi-generational family of fishermen. Most people in the industry would know that last name, and he has just finished writing a book, and he's going to talk about that. We also have Charlotte Enixon, who is part of a fishing family, was married to a fisherman, and she is a poet, and she talks about how life in a fishing family, how important it is to be a part of that family and what being that family means. And then we have fisher poet Dave Densmore. He is an Alaska fisherman. I've heard him referred to as the granddaddy of fisher poetry. He began writing fish poetry back in the 70s to really talk about the experience of the fishermen. And it's more of like a universal language, because the themes that run throughout his poetry you'll also hear within John Campbell's work as well. He's a singer-songwriter and artist. He's a Renaissance man, if you will, out of Galilee, Rhode Island. And you'll hear those same themes. It's funny. It doesn't matter geographically where the fishermen may come from. They all have the same concerns and hopes and dreams for themselves and their families. And it comes out in the writings that you will hear from our authors and our poets and musicians as well.
Now, you did mention food. Is there a seafood tent?
There will be. There will be seafood again. Seafood Hut will be our main vendor. And then we also have Destination Soups, Ox Cart from Oxford Creamery, Newburyport Crab Cape Company, and Alice's Food Truck. Alice's Food Truck will actually be up at the center, and the other vendors will be down on Steamship Pier near the Bourne Counting House. So there will be fresh local seafood, scallops, fish, chowder, lobster rolls, soups, and anything and everything. And we, also for those who may not like seafood, we have other items. But I urge everyone to.
That would be.
I know, but they need to. They can come down and they can try it. And but if they don't want to try it, we have other options as well.
All right. The Working Waterfront Festival is one day only this year. It's happening Saturday, September 23rd, at Steamship Pier and outside the New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center on Bethel Street. Thank you, Jessica.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And Jessica Bailey, the festival director. Really hope it's a great event. Glad to see that it's back.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thank you.
The weather will hold.
I hope so too.